Space Vessel Justice. This week on this space vessel, thank you for traveling with me. I want to mention he was 80. He was 80. No, I'm not talking about his age. I don't know what his age happened to be, but he was walking across my path and he had on this jersey that said 80. Now, 80 can mean age. 80 can also mean a certain formal, metaphysical look at things. You know, with the number 8, as we talked about with infinity, we mentioned how it can be wealth and abundance as well. However, as he went across my path, I saw that the wealth and abundance of this older gentleman, I don't want to call him elderly. The beard just betrayed something. It was scruffy. His clothing was also, unkempt. And yet, he still had some strength about himself, even though you can tell life had really hit him. And wealth and abundance was just not, portraying itself at this time in this man's life. And yet, he was 80. Did this man deserve dignity no matter how unkempt his clothing was, how scruffy his beard was, and yet he wore that jersey 80 with pride? What do you think? Thank you for being with me on the Spaceship Justice. Remember, justice is not only peace. Justice is not only fighting criminals, but really justice is giving just due to whatever the situation is that bring balance and fairness. Yes. Have a wonderful day. Developed, created, and owned by James Pro Artistry Productions. God is love. God is patient. God is good. God is perfect. Now, his arch enemy is the opposite of everything of what God is. So when the scriptures say that God is abundant, in mercy and loving kindness, that means that his arch enemy is actually what? Hurtful, unforgiving, don't know when to say when. Let me emphasize that. See, there's examples in the Bible where God actually took into consideration what somebody was going through, even if the person got into the situation themselves, where he still took care of that individual or individuals, you see, even if, as humans would look at it, that person didn't deserve it. Granted, sometimes God would say, well, for my promise that I made, or for my name's sake, I'm still going to do this. So I made this pact or promise with you, or whether you do everything I want you to do or not. You see, in some cases, but all the same, we know that God is love. And he does take in consideration that, as the scriptures say, we are dust. We are not only made of the ground ingredients, you see, our whole body, but we're also, we're just flaky like dust or weak like dust or what have you, especially in this imperfect state. So I am talking, you see, even emotionally, spiritually as well, with the state that we're in. So God takes all that into consideration. And I want to emphasize, see, Jehovah God, which is his personal name, he knows when to say when as well. He's not an unforgiving or harsh spirit, unlike his enemy. Jehovah God also knows what balance is. His arch enemy doesn't. So with that being in mind, I want you to really think about what I'm going to share with you in this account tonight, okay? When we talk about justice, you see, there's even a statue that shows what the woman holding a sword in one hand and scales in the other. And guess what? She also has a blindfold over her eyes, which signifies justice is fair and balanced. It's not partial. And then, of course, it has the sword to mete out judgment and execution, if need be, or what have you. Do we see that in all cases today? See, justice is supposed to bring balance to any situation. So we've talked about how it doesn't mean someone has to be robbing a bank or doing anything bad in that nature, but it actually involves still whether there's a deficiency or struggling in one area of individual, society, or community, then guess what justice does? It still, you see, brings balance to this situation or that. For example, in certain workplaces at times, you see, you can have an extraordinary worker, and you will find that that worker has worked their way to certain situations time and time again, with going beyond what is even required for a job or situation. And yet, every time it comes for raises or what have you, or payment, maybe the supervisor that said, I'm going to take care of you. I'm really going to take good care of you. You're going to get this, you see, especially around the year-end bonus or what have you. Now, for some reason or the other, somehow the supervisors that always see the value in that worker gets moved to some other location or this or that. And guess what? Whatever it is they wanted to do for that employee that keeps getting, as they call, looked over or passed over or what have you, it just continues like that. So what is that? In this case, even in the work environment, that is an injustice on another level. There's no balance towards what was right, what was proper, what was good in this area when this employee really was going above and beyond, you see, in their occupation, while others still, hey, if they put in the regular work or what have you, they somehow kept getting their raises, promoted, and things of that nature. Well, that's just one example that I want to give you. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this. Well, I'm going to stop right here because this is going to be part one, okay, about God and about what is justice. And let me see. I'm trying to decide whether I will take this to a 4-part series. Maybe I will. Yeah, you know what? I think I will, because this will give me time to also, with this type of series, this will also be linked with my, buymeacoffee.com/James Poe Artistry. You see, a group. So I'll probably put this first one on the public, yes, official podcast, James Poe Artistry. And then the other ones I'll put, in my exclusive group, so you'll be aware. So anyway, this was part one and the start of this series. See you in the next one.